I'm live. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's cool. Let's do something. This is so unique. Does this even work? Oh, that's cool. Oh, and it sounds good. That's good. Okay, so today's episode of the Know Nothing podcast is going to be about all the stuff that you guys said it should be about. So, I got like 10 things. You guys did all the work for me because I don't have anything to say. So, the first thing that was suggested to me to talk about is ants. That's probably the most important topic to talk about is the subject of ants. A-N-T-S, ants. So, in order to do that, hold on. I'm going to have to look up ants. So I have a new tab. You can see I searched for tab. I'm going to talk about ants. So ants are like really interesting. And I think the reason that this was even recommended to talk about is because I was talking about Santa Claus with my wife and all those theories where, you know, or not the theories, but people will say that, you know, Santa, if you move the letters around, is Satan. And it's pretty compelling, but not a lot of people know that if you look closely at ants, that the word ants is spelled out of the letters in Santa as well. It's just kind of a unique thing that a lot of people don't talk about. And if you add an A, you'll get ants when you search for them. So, I mean, you see these theories that maybe, I don't know, Santa is Satan, but no one ever really brings up if he's ants. Anyway, just thought I'd cover that. So that one's all settled. So the next thing that was requested to talk about today is let's go over to Twitter, and I'm not really sure how to even say this. So somebody wanted me to talk about the failure of Keynesian economy theory and the subsequent failure of neo-Keynesian theory, leading to the insanity of modern monetary theory, which is kind of interesting because I don't really know what that is. So we're gonna get to the bottom of it together. So I'm gonna Google this. We're gonna see what that is. So is that what they wanted? Hold on, I gotta open another tab because I don't want to mess this up. So it's the economy theory. Economy. It's one of those words you can say it wrong if you're illiterate. When I was a young lad, there were some words like that I would say wrong. Like inventory. I would say inventory because I just grew up playing video games and you just see the word, but you wouldn't realize that how to actually pronounce it because you wouldn't hear anybody say it. So that's just one of those big signs when someone's kind of illiterate is when they're using big words, but they're not saying them correctly. People do that quite a bit. Spartan Warrior Queen has a word oikonomos, which means home in law. It's a Greek word. It's beautiful. Oikonomos. So I just learned that. That's more interesting than the Keynesian economy theory. Oh, that's the origin. Oikonomos, economy. Should I just start talking like that? It'd probably be pretty interesting if I did. All right, so let's make sure I'm doing the right thing here. So we're going to look up the Keynesian economy theory. We're going to see what that's all about. So the Keynesian economy theory is a macroeconomic theory. It's kind of redundant. It's of total spending in the economy and its effects on output, employment, and inflation. So let's go to Wikipedia. Or no, let's see. The basic concepts of this is 1, aggregate demand is more likely than aggregate supply to be the primary cause of a short-run economic event like a recession, which is kind of obvious when you really think about it. When you see it right here, it's kind of clear as day that that's the case. You might also notice, I don't know if you can see this. Oh, you can. Okay. That the second basic concept is that wages and prices can be sticky. So in an economic downturn, unemployment results, or it can result, I'm sorry. I don't want to get this wrong. So I don't understand that. Does anyone in the comments want to explain that to me? It's probably better if you just explain it to me. I can see that the chat is more interested in talking about termites than that, which is good because I'm having a hard time. So if we go back, I mean, honestly, let's be honest here. That's not going to work, okay? I need pictures. I do the videos and stuff. I need pictures in my life to understand. KDM says economics don't exist, TBH. Have you ever seen economics? No. So let's take a look at pictures, because pictures are worth 1,000 words, right? So if we go, he wants me to talk about the failure of the Keynesian economic theory. So let's look it up and let's find a picture. Oh, yeah. I mean, are you kidding me? That is failure right there. Look at that line. That's obscene. So it looks like the economics were doing really good. Like they were high up and then they went down like towards the end and like they're off the charts. You know, that's why the term off the charts is even a thing. If you look at the chart itself, you can see that there's a failure here. And it's pretty bad. And look at this, it just keeps going, all these pictures. Oh, well. Obamacare, it's a tax. It's a tax. It's an attack on you. That's right. We are getting to the root of it here, baby. So if you think about it for too long, you're going to have a bad time. But if you think about it for just that much time, you are oikonomically sound. So genuinely, I would say that we've kind of done that justice. But I can see how that's led to the insanity of modern monetary theory. I mean, it's just out of hand. There's like 5 pictures where it's below the chart. It's literally off the charts. So it's abundantly clear that just the modern sort of economic system has really failed due to the Keynesian Davidian branch of economy. Does anyone else have any other Greek words before I move on that they want to share? No? Okay. If you do, just put them in the chat. We can go over them as they come up. Anything you guys want me to riff on or talk about or explain to you, I'm happy to try. So, I mean, that was pretty embarrassing. So let's go to something else. The next interesting thing that somebody asked me to talk about is the Red Queen effect. Red Queen effect. That's new to me. I've never encountered the Red Queen effect, and that's a pretty interesting sounding effect if we're being completely sincere and upfront. So I'd love to give this a search here. We could talk about the Red Queen effect. Is anybody in the chat familiar with the Red Queen effect? If you are, just let me know. We've got it up here, the Red Queen hypothesis. So the Red Queen hypothesis, also referred to as the Red Queens or Red Queen effect, it's a hypothesis in evolutionary biology which proposes that species must constantly adapt, evolve, and proliferate in order to survive while pitted against ever-evolving opposing species. The hypothesis was intended to explain the constant extinction probability as observed in the paleontological record caused by coevolution between competing species. It's also been suggested that the Red Queen hypothesis explains the advantage of sexual reproduction as opposed to asexual reproduction at the level of individuals, and the positive correlation between speciation and extinction rates in most higher taxa. Okay, that's actually kind of, I can work with that. That's interesting. So it's an evolutionary theory. And it's basically saying that, man, if there's other things that are evolving constantly, you have to constantly evolve and adapt as well to compete. So sort of being stagnant isn't going to be a good strategy in that case. It's kind of cool. And I mean, you guys in the chat seem to be really interested in ants and termites, right? So if you look at an ant, you'll see kind of freaky looking. Like it's got all these legs. It's got that weird face. But if you look at a termite, you gotta really, yeah, that's a good picture. Well, it's more like a Nintendo 64 termite. But if you look at a termite, I mean, it's night and day. Like that thing's beautiful. You know, it's a very pretty creature. So if you weigh those things up against each other, yeah, it's got a big head. That's right. They're big-headed creatures, my friend. But honestly, so a termite versus an ant. So there's a termite and an ant out there. And the termites, you know, it's got a big head. It's kind of ugly. And what ultimately happens with a termite is, wait, no, I got it backwards. Okay, so the termite's got a big head, it's ugly, and the ant's really cool. Like it's fast, it's strong, it can lift weights. It's really powerful. But the termite isn't. The termite's like got nothing on that, because a termite can lift 100 times its own body weight. A termite can't do that. Termite's got a big head. He's at the gym. He can't even get the barbell past his chin because his head's so big. So the termite, to compete with the ant, is going to have to work twice as hard. The termite's going to have to find other ways to exercise, like push-ups, and so on. And in doing push-ups, you can see that the termite's got 4 legs. And an ant only has 6. An ant only has 6 legs, ladies and gentlemen. It's night and day. It's night and day, guys. So, no, realistically, let's get into the theory. We need to talk about the Red Queen hypothesis. And I find that pictures are worth 1,000 words here, ladies and gentlemen. So if you look closely, you can see that the monopolist is consistent. They are just stable. They are doing the same thing, and they think that they're going to thrive while doing that. But the real problem is that the organization that isn't performing because it's facing rivalry will work harder, and therefore it will come out on top. But what happens is as you can see at the latter half of the chart here, this opponent may very well become the new monopolist. If they get settled in the ways of what worked, they're going to get stuck on that. They're going to sort of stagnate, just like the monopolist before them, which is why they say that history is sort of a system of, governments and beliefs sort of deposing one another. Once one system overcomes another by its cleverness, by its change, by its difference, and its sort of tenacity, once it is in that cushy position, it begins to stagnate. It goes, I'm comfy now, right? The old, what's it called? The old, good times line. Let's see. Good times create something. And we'll look it up. Yeah, okay. So strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. I should have started at the beginning, right? It's what happens when you have the attention span of a termite. So the hard times create strong men. The strong men create good times, and the good times create weak men. But the weak men create hard times, and that's where you actually see those hard times causing the organization that was facing rivalry to sort of change and adapt to overcome the monopolist. So the key strategy would be something I don't know if anybody's really capable of, which is to constantly adapt and never get too comfy. It's a shame it has to be like that, because we all want the comfy times. The comfy times are the best times. But that's not life, is it? The termite has to do its push-ups, or the ant will steal its termite woman. I read that in my diary. So if we move on from that, I do have a new request. Are you here? Peace through victory. Are you in the chat? If you are, I'm going to answer your question. I am going to also, I'm going to retweet that I'm live streaming. I can see that it's gotten a whopping 0 likes on Twitter here. So let's, I'm going to retweet this. I'm going to say streaming. Okay. I'm basically famous. So if we do that, now we have an audience. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Mr. Peace or Miss Peace. I don't know if they're a lady or a gentleman. They are a nice looking wolf person, which is awesome. They want to know about the objects that I feature in my movies, if it pleases me to talk about that, which is so cool because it pleases me very much. I'm very well pleased at the very idea of talking about the objects that I use in my videos. Oh, you're here. Oh, that's so wonderful. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to talk about that for you. It's kind of like an open-ended thing. Is there a particular object, or just do you guys want to know about, how I pick objects, or how I look at objects philosophically? I'm happy to go any which way. Until I get that answer, I will tell you I have one of those objects right here. I got a little bell that was in one of my videos called The Ring of the Bell. It's a very pretty bell. I don't have an answer yet. That's okay. I'm just going to talk about this bell. So this bell, well, okay, so how do I find an object? We'll start there. So when I am making a video, I will typically start with objects, places, because ideas are important, right? You need an idea to express, or at least that's how my stuff works. I usually try to convey an idea. I usually try to convey an idea, hopefully in a way that helps the audience to understand that idea in an experiential way by the end of it. But finding an idea is like one half of this whole thing, because film is a visual medium, right? So ideas are very, they're very much invisible, right? They're not manifest in reality. So an image needs to be made in order to convey an idea. Most films, and people don't give film enough credit. Film is really hard. It's expensive. Like a low budget movie of like $10,000, most people actually like laugh at and make fun of, like it's very cynic and stuff. But that person like put like $10,000 into something. It's really hard to get right. It's very taxing, and your appreciation is not going to get there unless it looks like it's $1 million. So my stuff's never going to look like it's $1 million. I don't think I've ever spent more than like a couple hundred on a short video. So I try very hard to, tell the idea with something as simple as an object or a place or person or all of the above. So I have the idea. Maybe the idea is developing, but usually the idea develops at the same time as sort of the imagery. Comes with a lot of reading, comes with a lot of exploring, comes with a lot of searching. These things sort of combine, right? And that like they lean up against each other and they create something. They feed into each other, I guess. It's an interesting, I don't know. I'm making up a thing here. It sounds pretty. So I have to find a object that can convey an idea. So that does mean that sometimes the reading itself is going to inform that. I do usually get inspiration from poetry and philosophy, theology, things that use almost in a sense timeless visual imagery, like parables and metaphors. Time is like a river, that sort of thing. It also has to be like something I want to say, something maybe that I'm going through myself, something that I think is important enough to share in that regard. I don't want to be like, oh, time's a river. I'm just gonna use time. It's a river, isn't that deep, guys? How the time is a river. Because if it doesn't mean anything to me in that moment, there's no point in doing it. It's almost like the whole purpose of the art is, it's kind of selfish. It's like my own mental morphology. Like, how am I growing? What sort of revelation or what sort of hurdle am I going through? How can I convey, getting over that hurdle? What ideas can convey that? What imagery is going to do that? So if I just, I could go through these books and like, oh, time's a river, baby. The soul is a flame. We're made up of stardust, all this stuff that people say that's really profound. If it's not what I feel like saying, that's meaningless, right? So it is a process of searching honestly for the right idea and for the right imagery. Because if the idea honestly doesn't like speak to me, and maybe I'm just kind of rushing something out, just kind of pushing something out because, I feel like I haven't made something in a while. I've got to make something. It really feels really meaningless. I might even feel excited once it's out, once I'm finished, once I get positive feedback. But there's been like 5 or 6 videos I've made that only a few of you have probably seen, and others of you haven't seen at all, because I put them in what I call the Lindy Vault, which is kind of playing off the Disney Vault, the movies they don't want you to see. And yeah, maybe you might like them, but it's like a pretension, if you're making stuff that doesn't feel good by the time you're done. But at the same time, that can happen like in a pretty quick way, because you can make something that feels sincere, but if you don't make it fast enough, you're like over it by the time you're filming it, and that's just crap. It's just like the worst feeling if you finally get something out and you're like, well, I was getting over that hurdle like 3 months ago. It just doesn't feel right, even if other people like it. So it is a weird thing. I'll see you, Spartan Queen. I'll keep doing this. Yeah. Oh man, I'm illiterate, so that's why we're doing this. But if you guys are still with me, I'm gonna keep talking about this object stuff. But I wish you well, Spartan Warrior Queen. I'll see you some other time. So you work on the idea in that way. It's got to be the hurdle. It's got to be real. It's got to be sincere. And sometimes you make stuff and it was sincere. When you put it out, it is sincere. And you're like, man, that was real. That was a hurdle that I was getting over. I didn't get over it by the time I finish it. That means that there must be some sort of timeless aspect to that, some sort of truth. And eventually, personally, you're clear over that hurdle months later and you're like, well, should I hide that video now? Am I done with it? And I don't hide those videos. If the answer is yes, I don't, because it's still sincere. It's still sincere, having come up and having said that at that time. But there are basically every video I've done, and there's like 15 that are visible on my channel, are like hurdles I got over and I'm like clearly over. Others, they're recurring. There are recurring themes throughout what I do. But for the most part, even if I'm like, I can't believe I like thought that was necessary to express or whatever, the sincerity is still important to me. And if anyone happens to go on my particular strange path, that's hopefully one of those hurdles will help them in their own journey, that if it looks anything like mine. Doing that can offend people who have different paths when you're dealing with spiritual or theological imagery. I do try to take that into account. I do try not to say anything blasphemous to this or that person. It's still going to happen. But I do try to be conscious of that. But I ultimately know that my videos are for people who might have had some variation of a similar experience. And I'm okay contradicting myself, because the worst thing you can do is contradict yourself and get worked up about it, or not contradict yourself, because you sort of have this, what Emerson would call foolish consistency. You have to learn, like, oh my God, I was like trapped in like a stupid lie. That's so stupid. But I have to once you see the lie for what it is, you should like throw it into the fire. You should move on, because if it's wrong and you care about truth, then you have to just throw it out wholesale. M14 says, illiteracy is Lindy, which is great, because Lindy's my name, baby. I am illiteracy. I am illiteracy made flesh, which is probably why people hide behind irony, they say, so they don't open themselves up to any negativity in response to their sincerity. Exactly. It's so tempting making art to make it ironic, or just to make it sarcastic or cynical, basically so people can so you can avoid criticism. And I try not to do that. I really do, because as fun as irony can be, it doesn't have any like sort of meaning for you. It's almost like you're just insulting other people. That's a different point altogether, but it's an important point. I don't know. I don't do the hiding behind irony thing, I don't think. Maybe on Twitter, where it's kind of like the Wild West shit posting sort of world. But usually I'm being like unironically sincere, which is its own fun little game. Anyway, I'm just talking in circles here. So, no, I don't want to go to that. I want to go to me. Look at me. Look at me. All right. So I was going to talk about objects. So you build up the idea, trying to be sincere. Who cares if you're contradicting yourself? You're just trying to be sincere, trying to make it quick so you don't get over it. You got to find an image fast. You got to find an object. It's got to coincide completely. They have to build up together until they connect. That's a really difficult art form to do, because usually the idea is like, where you're just building up images and they have nowhere to fall either. They have to come together. It's like an organic thing. The only way to make that happen is to be constantly looking all the time for both things. You really do. Because when you're pondering stuff in your head and you're out in the world exploring different places, or you're online looking at different art, or looking at different sort of objects, those things will kind of inform each other. It happens so organically, where it's like, oh, here I am at the cemetery. Oh, whoa, that's such a pretty view. Earlier, I was thinking about, impermanence or whatever. And there you go. Oh, what about graves? That's clearly relevant to, death. I mean, that's a pretty simple thing, right? It's a simple example. And eventually you're like, oh, but I can get that shot of like the like lichen and all that, and the moss, some textures on there. Oh, wow. And what can happen here? Who can be here? What can they bring here? What can they do here? What other ideas are lingering in your head? And eventually that can come together with a different object. And when you have a couple objects and a couple ideas, they sort of, those things clashing, like the different objects clashing, you already have a world now, right? So you've created like two sort of, I don't know, what's the word? Like two different spheres in the universe, right? And they're sort of dancing around. And this is imagery, right? If you made a film with two little orbs moving around, it's already something to look at, right? If it was just one orb, it didn't have anything to revolve around, it's not a very interesting movie. So you have to have more than one object. You have to have a location. A location will usually be that other object, so that's pretty helpful. especially if that has symbolic meaning, these things can kind of work together. They can clash. They can, repel each other. And it's kind of watching that happen that makes things interesting to watch all together. So that's sort of the essence of, like film in general. The visual medium is like what idea orbs that have taken the form of images are interacting. Are they going to clash? Are they going to be harmonious? Are they going to conjoin into one thing? Are they going to repel each other? Are they going to revolve around each other? Or is a variation of all those things going to happen? Can you bring in a third thing and make it even more interesting? Usually I just try to do like one or two or three things, and to keep it simple, because I like to show how that's happening. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. I don't know if that's what's happening. I think of this stuff in a very abstract way. With my stuff, it's almost one of those things that I'm trying to get people to think somehow. And I don't know if that's ever going to happen or how it actually comes off, but it's almost like my favorite sort of film personally makes me think about how they filmed it. How did they imbue objects with meaning? How did they imbue locations with meaning? How did they make this all come together? It's kind of like the whole fun of it. And those films are called films for filmmakers, just like there are books for authors like Emerson or Pessoa or whoever. No one wants to read that but people who want to write. I like to watch films that only filmmakers would want to watch, and I try to proliferate that. I try to pay that forward. M14 says surrealism is 3 items or situations that are not intended to be together. Yeah, that's a pretty fair assessment. It's like a total sort of disharmony, which is interesting. I tried personally not to do like full-on surrealism. I appreciate the symbolism of that art style and that period, but ultimately, sorry, Mama's in the chat. Mama says, what the heck is this? I don't know what's going on. I talked about ants. It was really stupid. I talked about Keynesian economic theory, which was even worse. I feel really embarrassed by the 1 or 2 people who probably came in and left after seeing that. But I'm taking people's requests. I'm talking about what people want to talk about. Right now, I'm 37 minutes in, and I'm talking about video. I was talking about how ideas are formulated, and if Victorious Peace hasn't run away, I'm going to, I swear, talk about objects. So, if I haven't made the point clear, you have to kind of develop your ideas at the same time as you're developing the objects themselves and the locations. So, how do you do that? You have to actually do the really uncomfortable things, the things that no one wants to do. First is read, and you have to read like poetry, and like theology and philosophy, the things that are gonna get you into the right headspace of using that sort of symbolic language. It doesn't mean you're looking for things to steal and go, haha, that's the symbolism I'm going to use. It can happen. It can inform you. And while you're reading multiple things, especially sort of disparate things, sometimes those symbols come together into like a super symbol. I don't know if I should reveal any time that's happened, but it's happened a couple times. You can make like a super object out of kind of those clashing orbs in your head while you're reading these different things. So you have to do that. No one wants to read. So that's the first place you should look. The second thing is even harder, which is like leaving your house and actually going to different places, exploring the world. You have to go, like I said earlier, to like the cemeteries and the parks and the woods and the desert or wherever you live. You have to actually look for the imagery. Like, where's this going to take place? That's a obvious, nothing's going to exist in a vacuum. These idea orbs, they can't exist in a vacuum. That would be really weird if it was just all white green screen where you're in like Plato's dream world. These abstract theories interacting. They have to take physical form. It's a material art. Film is always grounded in reality. No matter how CGI that version of reality might be, it has to take place in some sort of universe. So you have to have a universe and you have to have a location for those abstract things to take place in. And those ideas sometimes have to take the form of different objects and people and places. So you have to explore, you have to go out and find interesting places. So how can you do that? We can go to the intranet and we can see how we can do that. So let's oh, I've got notifications. Oh, Warbonnet Bonner's interested. Oh, look at this face. I don't even know if my mom would love that face. That's okay. I appreciate you guys being here, supporting, and watching these rants. So let's look. How can we find a place? Let's make this bigger than me. Let's see, how do we find a place? So where do we live? Where do we live? I'm not gonna Google, you know, where I live, because that's like not good on the internet. I was telling Stained Haynes here, if you're here earlier, and I don't know if I was just like shit posting on your post, you know, sorry if that offended you, but I remember he was talking about AOL on Twitter, and I was talking about back in the AOL chat rooms when I was like 10 years old. I remember putting like my full address and name on a chat room because I was trying to find a girlfriend. Probably the most embarrassing thing you could ever admit or do. The police came to my house and were like, son, you should not do that. Just don't do that. So my what's it called? My OPSEC or whatever it's pronounced. My sort of my strategy here for not putting this face on the internet's pretty bad, but I'm a pretty nice guy. I'm a really sweet person here, so I don't see a problem with that. M14 says the Fall is such a great example of location building and research. That is so true. That's such a beautiful movie. The imagery in that is stunning. So if anybody hasn't seen that movie, we'll go over here to Bing. The Fall is going to bring up a lot of stuff. Fall movie. It's like stunning surrealist imagery. And yeah, you can tell that these like desert locations were, you know, where they want to take place. They found this tree, you know, in the middle of this sort of swampy area and thought like, what's this tree mean? What does this guy mean who's at this tree? So it is this very abstract thing. And in a sense, it's still taking place in that sort of Platonic void, right? But it has to take place in reality. And what does the reality that you're choosing say about what you're saying? And what do the locations and so on do as well? So yeah, and the beautiful sort of temple here. I haven't seen this movie in ages, but there are tons of like directors who have this exact sort of thing. I'm sure he's inspired by Jodorowsky. I don't know what to put here. That didn't work. I looked up Jodorowsky location, but that's some surreal stuff. Just look up The Holy Mountain. Pretty crazy movie. Maybe a little blasphemous, but they use, you know, they created these sets. You know, he was very interested in like the tarot kind of symbolism, so he created these sets, very abstract. Like he tried his best to make like the tarot a thing. You know, not everybody's going to do that. I personally don't like to do that. I think of myself or my art as grounded. I like to ground it in reality. I'll talk about, like Jim Bonner requested, my influences in just a little bit. M14 says, name drop Jodorowsky, timer check. But yeah, you have to be smart when you're thinking about where you want to take place. If you want it to be abstract, if you just like the ideas and you're like, you know, an INFJ or something, and you just like ideas, or INTJ, I think ideas are everything, and you don't leave your house, you know, no offense to you guys, your movies are going to look like this. And that's totally cool. I get so much, you know, I get absolutely blown away from this just like complete battering of just abstract concepts, almost living in their own Platonic sort of abstract world. I really do. I personally like to use what I can, almost to show that you can use what you have for that purpose. And also because I find nature to be gorgeous. I would like ideally to inspire people to go out, make these videos, explore the world themselves, look at things close up, look at things from far away. All the different things that in a sense make you think. You look at, a gritty texture, you might feel a little bit more grounded, right? As you're looking at something really close up and you're feeling, it's all pretty lame, right? This is all just sort of the same stone texture. See the different rot and deterioration here makes you feel like life and death, right? It makes you feel grounded, makes you feel like a fleshy body, just looking at this sort of thing. So using that sort of thing, or, like Plato himself says, or I know Marcus Aurelius quoted him. I haven't read Plato. You guys are probably yelling at me. Plato always talks about zooming out from the world and looking from above, the inspiring view you get from like the top of a mountain, makes human things seem so small. These are the different things you can play with as you move closer and further away from things with your camera. Sort of putting things into perspective one way or the other. So that's why objects are important. That's why my stuff's going to use objects. Jodorowsky uses objects very much so, right? Super object-based, the different tarot symbols. I know he's got like the sheep sacrifice. He's got like defecation. He's got like the alchemy stuff. Yeah, it's crazy. He's got the frogs like being like a Aztec thing in the, what's it called? Like the Spanish Inquisition, I think, right? Like kind of killing them all. Like he uses objects to tell his abstract stuff big time. But how else can we do this, right? So let's actually Bing, right? I'm going to use Bing like people use Google. Let's Bing something. Give this a quick Bing, guys. We're going to Bing real quick. We're going to Bing out. How do we find a location? So somebody in the chat, give me like a place where someone in the United States lives. Besides me. If you know where I live, don't say it. Where's someone live? Whatever state, Tennessee, I mean, whatever city, whatever town, Missouri, just give me something. We'll find some cool locations in that area. I'm blessed where I live on the East Coast, lots of old stuff, structures, history, tons of forests. And you can use all that stuff like old structures. I probably shouldn't be filming in those places without a permit anyway, but you got to do that Werner Herzog rogue filmmaking and just kind of go in there and do what you want anyway. Hopefully people walking their dogs aren't there, because that can be pretty annoying when you're just like, come on. But you can find cool places. All right, no one's giving me a place. Maybe there's a delay, but let's find a place. Let's just say I live in Maine. And what's a town in Maine? Wells, Maine. Is that a thing? Yeah, so Wells, Maine. Let's look at Maine. Maine's big. Portland. Let's go to Portland. Don't go to anywhere named Portland. I don't know if I want to use Wells. I know that's a big, popular sort of city area. It's not going to have the kind of stuff we're looking for. So I can't choose where I live. Let's say I live in like Scarborough, Maine, right? I don't know Scarborough's probably popular too. Let's go further in the coast. I live in Buxton, Maine. Okay. So Buxton, Maine. You can look it up. Oh, beautiful. Historical place. I live in Buxton, Maine. I've got all these old stone walls. I've got this old white chapel here. It's so beautiful. The fall foliage. Look at this bridge, right? I'm already finding locations in Buxton, Maine just by giving it a Bing. But let's look up like Buxton, Maine abandoned. So is there an abandoned old Chevy somewhere? Can I use that in my film? I can't just Google it. I have to figure out where that is. I have to go there and I have to see if what I'm reading, what I'm sort of involving myself in is gonna bring this Chevy to life. Siegfried calls it Anchorage. Oh, that was a town. I thought you were being symbolic because in a way the object is like the anchorage for the idea, right? but that's not what you're doing. But that's not what we're doing. We are in Buxton, Maine, baby. And we are looking at, look at this abandoned bridge. Okay. So I don't live close enough to this, but that's so cool, right? Cool old bridge. Like, what could happen there, you know? And I always joke, or I have joked in the past, like, what if a hermit lived there? And there have been films of mine where that's like the thing I do. But like, realistically, who could meet here? What would they be doing? Excuse me. What would they be doing here? What two people could come here? Why would somebody come here after work or after at the beginning of their day? Does somebody do like a strange ritual here? Does somebody come here every day to do the same thing? It's kind of like a Tarkovsky sort of motif, the repetitive, like the guy walking back and forth with the candle. But maybe that sort of thing happens here. And no one would know that you're ripping that off because it's so different. You shouldn't rip stuff off, but you shouldn't feel bad. Look at this. This is in Ireland. Okay, let's not go to Ireland. Let's not just look at the similar images. But that's pretty cool. So Buxton, Maine, abandoned. We could try Buxton, Maine, ruins. I don't know where Buxton, Maine is. Or I do now, but I don't much. Oh, that's beautiful. If that old mill's still there, that's certainly something. So I don't see much more. But if you lived in Buxton, Maine, you should probably not be too much of a Kafka who like never left Prague and like stretch your legs just a little bit. I went like 5 years filming stuff. There's like 5 movies of mine that were filmed within 10 minutes of my house, which is like, that's just like low budget. Like you might not think I care as it gets, but like you're almost, look at the map here. Like you're almost like creating life in the topography of your surrounding areas. But if you're not finding stuff, and you should explore the nooks and crannies. I mean, look how much forest is here in Buxton, Maine. Explore the nooks and crannies. You're going to find the most interesting abandoned places where people haven't found them. Like the best stuff people haven't searched enough and posted enough about to come up when you search for Bing. And honestly, if we were using Google, I'd be getting better results. But that's okay. Sometimes you just got to like do that. Okay, this isn't working, the map. So let's look up like, on a map. I don't know if that's going to be any better here. All right, so if I live in Buxton, I probably won't have a problem going to Westbrook or Hollis Center. So like, you know, presumably I have a car or access to a train or cab or something. And you can, you know, you got to get creative. You have to look up the parks in these different places. Some of these parks have really interesting stuff in them that people don't think are notable to have pop up when you search for ruins or abandoned in Hollis Center, Maine. So there are some really cool spots that I've used in my videos where there are like the ruins. There's like that tower, the hollowed out tower that's covered in the leaves. That does not come up if you look up abandoned or even abandoned tower with the keywords of my town or state. It comes up when you look up parks and you look through the different parks and, oh my gosh, what's this old like ruin of a water tower doing in this random park in my state? That's 20 minutes away from me. Or the sort of garden pergola thing that I've used a couple of times, that's in a park that's like 20 minutes from me. Or the abandoned structure of the like campsite that I've used. So get creative, look for different parks, and you're going to find things. You have to go out and go to this place. You have to go, all right, I'm going to Hollis Center, go there and spend a day there. And you have to live in that space, sort of know what it feels like to be there. Look at it from different angles. And experience it from every angle. And spend time and get bored. And when you get bored, don't leave. You have to be patient. That's your cue to stay longer until you are putting things together. And maybe you won't. Maybe you're just exploring at that time. But you can go home, and as you search, that's just one of those seed ideas that's in the back of your mind, and maybe these things will come together over time. You have to just kind of collect these different, I don't know if seeds works for the metaphor, but you collect all these different seeds, and eventually they sort of culminate into a delicious trail mix for you, as the old saying goes. You guys feel free to keep talking here in the chat. I'm going to keep spamming this on Twitter here. Feel free to ask me questions. If I'm boring you, I see people are leaving, let me know. We can talk about anything. I still haven't talked about objects yet, but we will. So the same thing goes for objects. So you can go to like Etsy. You see it pops up for me. And you can see, you can actually see what I have been looking up on Etsy. But this is a really cool way to actually find cool stuff that's, valuable for your idea. Because objects are really symbolic in themselves. You can see they recommend a lot of statues to me. I might have a problem. Look, we got Odin here. We got Mary. All kinds of things that shouldn't be in the same room. Look, but I found all those milagros or tama, as Spartan Warrior Queen would probably say I'm saying wrong, by just kind of looking on Etsy. And I made an entire video around them as I was exploring, this book here, Book of Mystical Chapters. These sort of things coincided together, created imagery for me. So really cool old sort of traditional, almost pagan Catholic practice here with the tama. We got one. You put this up, praying for your organs to be made healthy. You could also do one of a dingle if you want your dingle to be healthy. Prostate health. But so these are still going to constantly be recommended to me because I was searching for those, not for dingles. No, just kidding. But the cool thing is it'll sometimes recommend things to you. It really wants me to buy these large, inspiring pictures of a guy dressed as Jesus. But ultimately, this sort of thing is another really cool way to find stuff that, you can actually use. I was looking up earlier, the Good Shepherd. If you found this, and you thought it was symbolic enough, you could totally, make a movie where that's an important prop. And this prop, $28, might carry your video. I'm not going to make a movie about the Good Shepherd. I just thought it was a cool thing. But you could do like vintage, keyword, use the word vintage. You're going to find something old with life, with meaning. If you have something in your own life that has that quality, that's even better. But like key, you're going to find all kinds of stuff. And if you go to any of these shops, Zoe's Trinket Boutique, what other cool stuff does Zoe have? What is she selling? She says, she's kind of like on the steampunk thing. She's repurposing wrenches, and that's cool. But that's not what we're in this for, right? Oh, shoot. I'm not bringing up any of these windows, guys. Heavens, directly to Betsy. So let's go. Let's bring up a tab here. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened. So, okay, cool. So you're on here. I looked up vintage keys, and like, are these a prop? See what I'm saying? Christian key. Right? We got this Noah's Ark key charm. If you're, that image is very, that object is very symbolically, I guess you could say, potent, metaphorically potent. So it's kind of, I don't want you. All right. It's symbolically potent, though. That's actually really cool. Where's your head at? If you're gonna make something true to you, if you personally were going through something where maybe you felt like, your tradition, for example, was absolutely important and you needed it to carry on through adverse time, maybe you could have a movie where an older gentleman or a mother gives to some younger person this Noah's Ark sort of amulet as a family heirloom, right? And that gets passed on through the troublesome time, and that Noah's Ark heirloom might be able to sort of inspire them in moments of, stress and peril, that sort of thing. That's not bad. That's not bad. You know what I'm saying? So, let's just look for $12. This is a, we'll add that to the cart. Not that I'm going to do that. It's not how I'm personally feeling right now, so I probably won't. But to just kind of look at these different things, just like you might write a list of all those different cool locations, you can sort of have them there as those seed ideas. And, if you're really having like a troublesome time coming up with an idea, you just sit there and you look at them and you go like, how do these connect? The connections are there. It's a game. It's a puzzle. And you don't make anything that's not real to you, but it's always there to keep your mind stimulated. Like doing your crossword puzzle keeps your mind stimulated. It's an exercise. It's a muscle that you have to exercise. So even whether or not you're buying it, and that's why the statue's here. I'm not buying the statue, but it was beautiful. I'm mostly not buying it because different theological reasons, but such beautiful imagery that it's just one of those nice things to have on hand to look at. All right, so any other cool Christian keys? We got this Ankh thing, not really working out for me there. And you can just go through page after page, go through the specific shops, and you're going to find objects. Look at this Virgin Mary key. It's beautiful. And if you look up vintage, this is just for keys, are you going to eventually, as you go through page after page, find a key that is in the shape of a cross? Now that's a powerful thing. I bet that's in here. Somebody somewhere made that at some point, and it can sort of be handed down to somebody in a sense, or maybe somebody holds on to that, or maybe they bring that to the bridge, and there's a door there, and you can use some movie magic. You find a nice door somewhere else, and when they come up to the bridge, they open up the door. You do a shot of a door that's somewhere else. They can go through the door. It's a bridge over to who knows what. But it can't just be like I'm just making up these ideas to show you how the thinking works. You're not going to do that sort of insincere thinking necessarily. It's just whatever ideas you're exploring, you're going to use those objects to inform what you do. Does that make sense? Probably not. That's okay. So this is one object I have on hand. It's a bell, and it's a bell that I got by searching here on Etsy for just like vintage bell. And, so many wonderful things here. But look at this. Can you guys... Oh, it's opening in a new tab every time. Look at that. Why isn't it working? I have too many tabs open. But there's booby bells on the top left there. It's a booby bell. I don't know why it's not. Let me... I don't know what I'm doing. Let's look at booby bell. Booby bell. Oh, that is not what I needed to see. Oh. All right, let's look up the booby bells just because we're here. All right, share screen. If you are, maybe you have completely different priorities than me, and you symbolically want to do something about femininity, breasts, there you go. You got a bell that looks like boobies. It's their words, not mine. Okay. But yeah, so I found this cool bell by searching for vintage bells, and I found it's not going to focus. It has the different oh, you guys are going to be mad at me. The tetramorphs for the different evangelists. Like it'd be well, and we got like the pelican here too. It's got those different things on the bell itself. And in my movie, no one probably noticed it, and that's totally cool. But I do close-ups of all 4 different creatures every time the bell rings, and there's a reason for that. And I just tried to explore different ideas with that in that particular Ring of the Bell video. But yes, Booby Bell. So yeah, the tetramorphs. And as you look at oh, not heavens. As you look at art too, that's the other place you have to look. So where have we talked about looking? Oh, not the Booby Bell. Goodness me. Goodness me. So as you as you're looking at art as well, you're also going to find symbolism too. So you're looking at art, you're looking at poetry, you're looking at you're exploring your area, your town, your surrounding towns. You're exploring objects themselves. If you don't have objects, that's okay. You can find them. All this stuff I've looked at, including the Booby Bell, pretty inexpensive. That I like that Noah thing. I am going to think about that Noah thing. Sigfrith says, this is not where I'd expect this live stream to go to. I'm sorry if I caused you to leave. If any of you guys have questions, comments, concerns, or compliments, just keep leaving them in the sidebar. You guys are kind of the star of this thing. I'm just kind of, every time you guys bring me something to talk about, I'm just going to go off, whether I know anything about it or not. But yeah, you got to look at art too, my friends. You know, the internet, man, the internet is, that's not a Renaissance painting, but look, like the internet's going to inspire you if you know how to use it. And like, none of this stuff's too crazy. How beautiful. Oh, dumb me. I'm never bringing up the right thing. What's wrong with me? It just keeps opening new tabs. But like, how do I do that? How beautiful is art in ivory? It's stunning. Absolutely stunning. Bring back ivory art. It's a very unpopular opinion, I'm sure. But, you know, as you look at different art, I mean, in the stories in scripture, how does that not inspire you? Jesus's 40 days in the desert and his temptations from Satan, you know, without going completely off the rails, you know, blasphemous, which is something I'm trying harder and harder not to do as I become more mature spiritually. You know, how can you be inspired by that? How can you pay homage to that or replicate that in a microcosm or a macrocosm? Though that is a macrocosm. But just like the rabbit holes you can get down. And sometimes the algorithm, you just have to trust. You know what I mean? The stuff that other people have made connections for, there must be a connection to. It's almost like this. Someone's going to think I'm really smart for this, but I'm totally just shitting my pants here. The sort of consciousness that other people have is true. You know, the connections that people have made externally are like an internal truth. It's like, and you just have to kind of like jump into that. And like the more you immerse yourself in poetry, art, nature, the timeless places like the mill and the bridge that I was showing you, these different old things, you're just in the sort of the world of timeless, meaningful, potent things. And you just want to swim around that long enough to drag out something potent, something tangible, like you could say is in this picture that's randomly up. They pull out of all this theology and philosophy and experience and prayer and scripture, the church. So you really sort of have to immerse yourself into this sort of subconscious, this consciousness that we all share. And look, this is just this very specific rabbit hole. Sometimes you have to go, let's try a new one. You know what I'm saying? Sort of take yourself back out of that. But the way to sort of answer your question about objects specifically, I will say that I don't always use objects in the same way. I am not Gandalf says Lindbergh is an old German word for dragon. I like that. I did not know that. That's really cool. I know the Swedish sort of breakdown meaning is that it's like a mountain with lime trees on it, or limes on it. So assuming lime trees, which I'm assuming is based on a location in Sweden. But I like dragon. I might just take that. That's cool. Thank you. But anyway, where was I at? Oh, there. Look at my. Don't look at anything that's about me. Oh, I'm signing out. Okay. Anyway, don't look at that. Anyway, what was I saying? All right. So I never use objects the same way necessarily. In a sense, you have to be open to using these means in different ways. And honestly, the most fun thing you can possibly do is experiment with that as well. So these are kind of, you can kind of get a grip of some of my sort of things I work with. Textures was one of them, those gritty sort of tactile, the tactile experience. Flashy editing, slower editing. Old sort of, I like brass, I like stone, I like those very gritty things. A lot of the structures I use end up being stone structures. I'm very blessed where I live to sort of be able to access those and sort of the timeless stuff that they've got going for them. But you ultimately need to not get like stuck with how you're doing that. You can't get too formulaic. And a lot of my themes are recurring. People have noticed that. They were asked about it. But you don't want to get too formulaic with like, well, the object, they're going to find an object and they're going to bring it to the place. And the place is actually where the hermit lives. And the hermit is going to tell them that they don't need the statue anymore. You know what I mean? That kind of thinking. If you're just constantly doing that, that's silly. So sometimes the object is magic. Sometimes the object is not. It's just an object. Sometimes the hermit knows what they're talking about. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's not a hermit. Sometimes the place is magic or supernatural or otherworldly. Sometimes it's just a place. Sometimes it's alive. Sometimes it's dead. Sometimes there's nobody there. Sometimes there is somebody there. Sometimes somebody's there. Somebody else comes. And the ideas and objects start to clash. And that's another thing. They can't always clash. They shouldn't always revolve around each other. They shouldn't always repel each other. They can, but honestly, the entire thing that makes doing all this fun is like experimenting with, all right, I got my aesthetic. I'm going to change that. I might change that too, but I've got like the different things I've got going, and like I'm gonna have fun with it. I'm gonna explore like 5 themes to death till I feel like I have explored them enough to digest every aspect of them. I've looked at. It's like I say, look at these locations from all angles. It's like, what can a long shot, like a extended shot, do? How many ways can I play with that? Can I make a joke of it? Can I make it boring on purpose? Should I make it peaceful? Should it be interrupted by tons of quick shots in succession? Do those grounding shots make people feel, or do those tactile shots make people feel grounded or on edge or disassociative? Because the editing is where like the different attributes of the different things you always use really come out. I wish you luck with your exam, Remember Kings. Oh man, that's like coming up, but that's cool. Anyway, yeah, you got to kind of be open to not being too formulaic, you know. or you just might just keep making the same movie again and again. And I just feel like you can do that, but at that point you're almost, I don't know, going through the motions, and that's the last thing I want to do. I've also been asked if like my themes are that, if there's a formula for that, and it's not. It's almost like cyclically I will sort of go through a variation of the same thing, sort of different on a different level. So they will almost pay homage to the past version that did something similar, but I will never repeat myself unless I have to. A pigeon sat on a branch. Has great long shots. A pigeon sat on a branch. Well, let's look it up. Pigeon sat on a branch. You guys are the host of this. I don't know anything. Well, you could see, I looked up milk. Lots of cool stuff here. You get a glimpse into where my mind's at. Okay, so let's take a gander at this goose. Pigeon on a branch. What if it was like really bad stuff, like Booby Bell? It was just says Booby Bell in YouTube. All right, is this it? Oh, cool. So it's like, oh man, this is like a really. This is just a clip from a movie. Oh, I don't know how the audio is gonna work. Can you guys hear that? Oh, fiddlesticks. You guys say. So here I am thinking you guys can hear it. And then here I am listening to like some very beautiful and surreal singing, and you guys can't hear it. I don't know how to make sure that you guys can hear that. Oh, I do. I know exactly how to make sure you guys can hear that. Because of my friends at the White Art Collective, they talk about clicking the little box. So let's click the little box. If any of you guys are here, bless your souls. I like you guys. So let's do that. And we'll do it again. And we'll go to the tab. I'm so sorry. Maybe I should find a different clip. Let's find a different clip. Let's find this one. Yeah, that one's cool looking. I've never seen this. You got to click the little box. Okay. You guys should be able to hear it now. Yeah?
Hurry up. Forward. Move it. Come on. Faster. Come on. Get up. Stand up. What is the problem? Move it.
Oh, this is like a 7-minute thing. And I don't want to do the long shot injustice, but I don't know if I want to watch something for 7 minutes right now. And I hope that's okay. But I already like get it and I appreciate it. It's really long shots. I really liked that other clip. We have this lady singing too. So it seems to really, like, I don't know, have that sort of surreal, ghostly, I don't know, disassociative, almost surreal feeling. Yeah. Very long, single point perspective, long shots of unrelated episodes. Exactly. I really like that. I love how everyone like turns to watch this as she starts. That's really cool. It's just like such a showstopper. Oh man, I'm so very happy. I did not know this was a thing, this movie. And I want to watch it, and I will. That's awesome. I don't think I've seen anything like that. And that's what you play with, right? They played with the single point perspective, they played with the long shot, they played with it being very long. Oh, and they're unrelated episodes. So, yeah, it's just an experience. That's cool. Thank you. So yeah, it's just you kind of, I don't know. This director can like make all their movies like this if they want, and they could get tons of satisfaction out of that too. And I don't know the director. I might have to look into them, but I will tell you that it's also satisfying to experiment, and I'm sure they do in some respects, like how they make their films. You know, not experimenting, especially if you're not very experimental, means turning into like Tim Burton over the last couple decades or something like that, you know? This is awesome. So I've still got like 20 topics here, but are there any more updated in the moment topics you guys want me to get into? Did I cover the objects thing? No, rest in peace, Burton. Did I cover the objects thing and my process stuff a little bit there? Is there any part of that or anything else you guys want me to go into right now before I move on? Oh, the Tree of Life intro. Yeah, I haven't seen that. The Tree of Life. I'm sure that's one of those things that I'm sure is surprising to people. I just haven't seen it. And I heard about it a long time ago. When I was young, I was young one time, believe it or not. I remember just one of the things. I will put on the intro. Let's just watch the clips. I'm sorry. Put on the intro. But I will tell you that I remember looking the movie up, or seeing that movie ages ago, because I was having a really hard time. And one thing I just remember looking up one day was trippy movies, or like the trippiest movies, because I knew that film had the ability to stimulate thought, to stimulate something more, experience. And some of my favorite directors and films I found from that list. Jim Bonner, if you're here, I don't know if you're here or if you've been one of these guys. You asked on Twitter what movies I draw inspiration from. A lot of that came from then, and that was like over 10 years ago. And I've been stuck on my ways, watching like the same 10 movies for the last 10 years, which is why I still haven't seen The Tree of Life. I don't know why I never did. But let's watch the intro to Tree of Life. Is it this opening scene or this opening scene? They look different. I'm going to go with the lady. Oh, I didn't. Oh, wait, you guys can hear it, I'm sure. Sorry for yelling. Oh, is it this not it, Gandalf? Hold on. I know there's a delay. Is this the right clip, Gandalf? I don't want to watch it if it's not what you mean. Just, was it the other one, the trees? This is it? I feel like I'm on a Blue's Clues or Dora the Explorer. Is that it? Okay. Oh, he's pasting it. We're gonna watch that one, that version. Thank you, sir. Just copy paste from chat. I don't see it. Gandalf. Oh, you put a link. Listen, if I can't find it, we're just gonna search for milk again. Let's find the link. Man, I don't see the link, Gandalf. I'm sorry, it's just not showing up in chat. Lacrimosa? Oh, so I'm gonna yeah, I'm gonna look that up. Tree of Life Lacrimosa. And then we're gonna get into some I'm gonna talk about some of my favorite movies, but I'm really excited. Maybe you are gonna get me to watch this. And you guys keep throwing recommendations too. We could talk about this stuff. This is cool. Lacrimosa. Oh yeah, that's very different. Very different. Wow. Gandalf says, stop, stop, stop. I'm stopping. It's beautiful. I was gonna ascend just now. I don't know why you want me to stop, but we'll stop. There must be spoilers. Oh, there's a different clip. All right, I'm gonna do this last clip. Let's see it. Universe, Tree of Life. Okay, so that wasn't it, or is this another Tree of Life? It's not typing. Hello. Tree of Life. Tree of Life 2011. Universe. Very pretty what we just saw. I mean, it's like seemed microcosmic with what looked like beads of water. Oh, that's pretty. Wow. Yeah, that's inspiring. That's beautiful. Man, I was gonna cry a little bit. That's really pretty. That makes me man, that's like 2001 plus Solaris, like it's like almost what they only aspired to be. That was stunning. Yeah, we'll watch the movie too. That's I don't know why I put it off. I think what I was probably thinking way back when, because I had like a pretty lo-fi uh sort of taste, was what can I do? I want my mind blown and I want it to feel like something I can do, but to be overwhelmed by something that's so spectacular is sort of that's just an experience that's important. That's really cool. Does this have the dinosaur part? Oh, that's probably the next scene or something. Cool. Well, now I don't want to show my favorite movies because that's really pretty, and I don't know if I can top that. Gee. Wow. So if anyone else has any other requests too, like we can get into those because I would be happy to watch more stuff. Can Terrence Malick's The Tree of Life be explained? Or instrumental Christmas music penguins with hats? Make your choice. Which way, Western man? It's one or the other. Okay, so let's see. I was gonna show you. Oh, dinosaur part. M14. You want to see the dinosaur parts, or do you want to see the penguins? Dinosaur parts. This is gonna get weird. No, I'm just kidding. That's not what we're gonna look up. But Bonner, are you here? If he's not, that's okay. He asked in Twitter, and I'm covering everyone's Twitter stuff as well. He said, where do I draw inspirations from and why? And I'm going to talk about literary. I'm going to talk about film. Since we're on the topic of film, we'll get into that first, baby. So, oh, okay. Hi, Bonner. Oh, cool. I'm glad you're here, man. So, you can see my my influences right here. Okay. But seriously, my favorite films. We'll just do my favorite films. Probably. Let me write those down. Like influence wise, because there's different stuff, right? There's movies that I like to watch. There's movies that I like and get little bits of ideas from. There's bits that or there's movies that, and I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's movies I would probably never like make any effort to replicate, and those are actually some of my favorite films, right? Though they're not an influence, they're an inspiration. If that makes sense. Like, I really like Hamlet, like the Kenneth Branagh Hamlet. I really like biblical movies like The Passion of the Christ and what's that other? The Nativity Story I just watched. I love biblical movies. I'm never going to make a biblical movie because that would be really sad. It'd be me in the desert with a bathrobe on. Like, right, I'm just not going to touch that. Man for All Seasons. I like the really like good old school acting kind of movies. There's that. Like I, Claudius. I love that kind of stuff. Some of my favorite stuff you would never guess if you see whatever it is that I make. But my favorite movies, like influential wise, you've probably seen me. I mean, I think I've shown you some of this stuff before. First one that comes to mind, because this is the first Head Monkeys. Look at, I am a very simple person. I am like literally there's like 10 things in my life at any given point. Have I seen the Macbeth movie with Fassbender or the Prince of Egypt? I've seen the Prince of Egypt. That movie is probably like one of the best biblical movies ever. But any Macbeth movie is good, and I have intention to watch them, but I only know the Brana version. We can watch clips from that in a little bit. I actually want to. So, but let's talk about the Monkeys movie, because this movie is weird and I love it. And this was when I looked up trippy movies, I think like 12 years ago. This is the one I watched and ended up watching like every night for like 5 years. It was like obscene. And it's the movie about the monkeys. You know, I don't even like the monkeys that bad, you know? It's but you'll see, this is like the director, I think, was very deeply immersed in 20s surrealism. And look, the whole thing's on YouTube. And actually, I think in HD. Or not. That's okay. And he made a filmmaker's movie. You know, this is the kind of movie that inspires people to make movies, because there is, I can do this and this can be as weird as I want. So that sort of frantic, frenetic energy from this movie is kind of like what gets me inspired a little bit every time I watch it. And there's a lot of questions. It makes you think about identity and psychology and all kinds of crazy stuff. You would never guess this either, that this is one of my actual favorite influences to make movies, because it's the Monkeys movie. And my movies don't actually look anything like it, but I kind of combine this with different influences or whatever to make whatever it is that I make. So lots of overwhelming noise here. Are we about to watch this whole thing? I don't know if I have time to watch the whole thing. I should have just picked clips.
Here, I think we're ready to go. Good. I mean,
So it's kind of this long process. And then these guys come out. Everyone's chasing the monkeys. They they're cutting the banner, and they broke the banner like it was a race finish line. They got nowhere to go. The monkeys kill themselves in the first scene. And it just goes into this psychedelic trip. But I would love to do a commentary on this movie. I'm going to do a commentary on this film. I'm going to find my favorite films that I'm telling you about today. We're going to do commentaries on them. That's so fun. So fun. They jump off the bridge, and look at that's terrible, like the dummy, but that's okay. We don't get cynical here. When I saw that, I was like, I can make a movie. All right, we're gonna do that then. That's so fun. I thought you guys were like, yes, the scene, so powerful. Just like the music you wouldn't expect either, you know? And then it just like cuts. It's like they get taken away by mermaids.
It's snowplow season for New England Ford dealers. Hurry in for up to 6,000 total savings.
Okay. And then just like the transitions. This movie like taught me about like transitions and how they don't matter, and how like the worse they are, the better they are, in a sense. Because it's like it's just like,
Start a
what the hell?
007 marathon on YouTube.
This is
Watch
brutal.
22 Bond movies for free with
The ads that's not okay. But it just transitions so strangely. Like, oh, they're filming through a aquarium, and they thought that was enough of a transition. And it's cool. It's a cool transition. Transitions are awesome because you think about associations, right? So it's in the water. They're being pulled by mermaids, and then it transitions to filming. He's kissing a woman instead of a mermaid. it's being filmed through an aquarium. And it's the kind of stuff that gets you thinking, right? It makes the audience make the associations as well. And if it's a filmmaker's film, it makes you go, how can I do that? How can I not necessarily use that transition, but use that type of transition? So this lady's kissing all the monkeys. You can make so many memes out of this. This is like a really quotable movie too. It's got that like 60s, like really jarring audio effect where like every quote seems like it's like gilded and it has weight. I don't know if that makes sense, but some of the quotes, it's just like, they're funny like that. And I quote this movie all the time, like unconsciously. It's like embedded. Yes, exactly. It's like music video editing, pacing, which is superior. Exactly. I have personal huge interest in like pre-music video films because they yeah, exactly. They almost saw it coming. Actually, Michael Nesmith, the guy right on the screen right now, like invented the music video with his movie Elephant Parts, which I just thought of when we were talking about dinosaur parts. Am I muted? I didn't think I was muted.
Hey, now wait a minute. Now wait just a minute.
Hey, hey, we are the monkeys. You know we love to please. A manufactured image with no philosophies. We hope you like our story, although there isn't one. That is to say, there's many. That way, there is more fun. You've told us you like action.
And this part
games
just
of many kinds.
sets up
You
the
like
whole
to dance, we
movie.
like to sing, so let's all lose our minds.
Every
You know
scene
it
in the
doesn't
movie,
matter.
they're all
Just what you came
disconnected
to
and they're
see
telling you
is
that.
what we'd love to give
This
you.
movie
And
is
if
like
it's 1, 2, 3.
But it may
completely off the rails.
Or jump from 9 to 5, and when you see the end in sight, the beginning may
The end of the
arrive.
For
sequence,
those who look for meanings, inform as they do. Act like it.
We all let it all
To give you.
I get shot in the head. This old footage. This movie's rated G for some reason. This lady's screaming. It's because they're screaming in excitement for the monkeys. It's talking about worshiping celebrities and stuff. It's like a poor man's Jodorowsky, but at the same time, it's an American movie through and through. And it's like it's weirdly in between old Hollywood and new Hollywood. So it's just got the spirit of both. And it's like that. You can go either way with it. You can go either way from this location. And this jarring editing that everybody on YouTube, anyone political is using right now. It's right here. Now we fade into the military scene. They're in the military now. And you'll hear some of those quotable lines.
It's too deep.
What'd you say?
I said I can't see. It's too deep. I've got to have a boost or something. Here, you can stand on my helmet. It's too heavy. I don't want to wear it. It's a drag. It presses down on my head.
You really ought to wear your helmet, Mickey.
What for?
Well, you might get a shot in the head, for one thing.
Shot in the head. Wow. Why didn't you say a shot in the arm or a shot in the leg? Then a sniper could be on top of that mountain and blow off the right half of my chest, or a plane could come zooming in through that pass and drop a bomb on my
Well, I'm wearing mine.
That's cool.
That's cool.
I'll go. See that you do.
I don't know. I could watch this whole movie right now. It's kind of funny. You hear people who like rock and roll and stuff. They
Hold it. This is for life.
they don't talk about this movie, but it's better than Help or The Wall and stuff, in my personal opinion. Or Tommy, all those kinds of movies. We're watching a Monkeys movie. I don't know how this happened. We're not going to watch the whole thing. I was just talking about how this influences me.
We're number one. We're number one.
This one.
It's very
Actually, I was just here about some ammo.
strange. We'll skip through a little. I'm going to show you my wife's favorite line in the whole thing.
One day in and
It's
day
like the
out.
next line.
Excuse me, sir.
And then we'll kind of jump around just so you get the idea of how disjointed it is. Don't watch it, Bonner. We're going to watch it as a big happy family. None of you watch this without me. We'll do a commentary on the whole thing.
Oh boy,
But
he just came over.
He'll never make it through this intense bombardment. Nobody could.
I love that line. That's my wife's favorite.
I thought you'd like it better.
Stars. Hey, that's great, Pete.
Okay, you
All
got
right,
it
so
ready?
just kind of skipping around. It's not just a war movie. They do that screaming thing some more. Kind of the associations, like the screaming audience, kind of up against the horrible war scenes. And it's singing about violence. And then it cuts. This old chestnut at the end of the song. The girls all run up on stage and rip them apart, and they're like that.
I gave her a very powerful narcotic, but I'm sure it will be effective soon.
Barbara Stanwyck may be in for a slight shock. Her son, Anthony Dion Fay, just sold a provocative story about his relationship with Barbara.
Hi, friends. Ralph Williams, owner of the world's largest Ford dealership.
Your Majesty, he acknowledges a king higher than you.
But you are the Messiah.
Our ship better be sailing out of that harbor on its way home within 24 hours, or we're coming in after it.
Sounds like a lot of supernatural baloney to me.
Supernatural, perhaps. Baloney, perhaps not.
I don't read papers, I don't listen to the radio, and haven't seen a television in years.
You make motion pictures, don't you?
Yes.
You're always looking for talent.
Yes.
Watch this.
What happened? You're at the world's largest Ford dealership. The world's largest Ford dealership.
And you're the world's largest Ford dealer.
My canteen
And then it turns into this desert scene, sort of Lawrence of Arabia stuff.
Costanze, beh, noi ci arrendiamo. Arrendere!
It's kind of one of those movies. Ah! It's just like the movie, right?
This season, get great deals on our new lineup of vehicles at Kia's Command Season.
Oh my God! I'm gonna go buy a Kia. Let's go buy a Kia. Oh wow, toothbrush. You can go buy a toothbrush.
Please don't.
Boxing. Yeah, okay, you get the idea. But it's hard to. Yeah, Americana. It's a very I don't know. It's got this sort of right after you've lost your mind. It's got a little peaceful moment, a little social commentary.
Pleasure, the inevitable byproduct of our civilization. A new world, its only preoccupation will be how to amuse itself. Tragedy of your times, my young friends, is that you may get exactly what you want. Step lively, gentlemen.
And then we got this guy in here.
The song was pretty white.
Well, so am I. What can I tell you?
You've been working on your dancing, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've been rehearsing it. Glad you noticed that.
Yeah, it doesn't leave much time for your music. You should spend more time on it because the youth of America depends on you to show the way.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
is the craziest people.
So yeah, it doesn't make sense, and just skipping through, it made just about as much sense as watching it. But yeah, that's one of my favorite movies. I wonder if you guys can see why. I guess that's kind of self indulgent, but huge movie because it just opened up like it doesn't even matter. In fact, the total like associative aspect of the film is when you put two and two together, it creates thoughts, right? Screaming Girl, the war crimes, I guess you could call them, right? It's like it makes the audience think. It's the art of doing that, associations, instilling thought, inspiring thought. It's what film's all about. And I might have this old school 1920s turn 1960s view on that, but that's my influence. And I'm just a simple guy, so that's how I do it. But it's a fun movie. Yeah, this part right here, he talks about, he literally goes into this monologue about how, well, let me just play it. And then we'll move on to the next movie. Oh my
A
God.
little support goes a long way.
Thanks.
Hey, what is it?
Hey, fella.
There's no way out. No handle on the side of the door. Hey, buddy.
Steel, man.
Hey, buddy, you better open this door.
Hey, open it up! What is that? Open it up! Let us out! What are you...
Oh, hey! You better.
Peter, what are you doing?
Hey, Peter, what's with this room?
Yeah, what were you yelling outside? I couldn't hear all the noise.
But you listen now. Now that it's too late.
Come on, Peter.
Come on, Peter. And before it was shut up, Peter. And from you, don't be rude, Peter.
Now look, Peter, if you know how to get out of this box, man, you sure better tell me.
Just cool it, Mike, will you? Just cool it. Let him do it in his own time.
Thank you, David.
Look, just take your time, Peter, man. I'm with you all the way down the line. You hear that? Right down the line.
Perhaps you'd like to sit down.
Oh yeah, they are a real band. They actually learned to play their instruments and everything. And this album in particular, they played themselves. They didn't write all the songs.
We were talking with the master regarding the nature of conceptual reality. Psychologically speaking, the human mind, or brain, or whatever, is almost incapable of distinguishing between the real and the vividly imagined experience. Sound and film, music and radio. Even these manipulated experiences are received more or less directly and uninterpreted by the mind. They are cataloged and recorded and either acted upon directly or stored in the memory, or both. Now, this process, unless we pay it tremendous attention, begins to separate us from the reality of the now. Am I being clear? For we must allow the reality of the now to just happen as it happens. Observe and act with clarity. For where there is clarity, there is no choice. And where there is choice, there is misery. But then, why should I speak, since I know nothing?
It's me.
Nothing.
This is Jim Bonner when he sees I know nothing.
That's right.
You mean to tell me we've been sitting here listening to you and you know nothing?
Well, take it easy, Dad.
Easy? What do you mean, take it easy? Now, we're stuck in a room. We're stuck in this big black box. Now, you're telling me to take it easy, and he's saying he don't know nothing. Now, what is this?
Don't you see, David? It doesn't matter whether we're in the box or not.
It's not important, huh? Well, let me tell you something. It's important to me. I'll show you how to get out of this box. You want to get out of this box? This is how you get out.
This is how you get out of the box. Yeah, the black cube is recurring too. They keep getting pushed into this cube again and again throughout the whole thing. It's probably the sharpest movie, and I feel so silly saying it, but this movie's shockingly intelligent. It's like highbrow and lowbrow. And just Davy Jones kicking ass is the funniest thing ever. They're breaking the fourth wall. They're escaping the movie. All the movie sets that they were in earlier.
Just passing through. You look like you lost to me. Don't that fellas?
Hey, you know, it might be an awful good idea.
Davy Jones, man. He's going to save the West single-handedly.
Down this here block, and I do. You're in for plenty of trouble. Is that right, boys?
Prove it.
Manlet King.
You get the
cannon.
This movie doesn't care. Anyway. Yeah, seriously. But yeah, we should just start posting pictures of Davy Jones and saying we were kings. Because, man. Davy Jones, man, he's the man. I'm just trying to see if like there's any other bits. But the whole movie's like very memorable. It's kind of like... got some really cool sequences.
Rent or buy the
Oh my
new
god.
Mutants on your go-to app for videos. Watch it now on YouTube.
I'm sure someone said Masonic imagery. Like, I don't know much about all that, but it's certainly a cool sequence. And this is like Jim was saying, it's like a music video. It's pre-music videos. It's like that frenetic energy, the editing, through and through. Davy Jones, man, absolute unit. All right, so that's Head. The movie's called Head. It's impossible to get people to watch that movie because they either go, "Oh, it's a Monkees movie." Oh, the Monkees, they just whipped off the Beatles. All this stuff. Like, this movie's sweet. The Monkees is probably a pretty great show considering how much people dislike it. They didn't play their own instruments. Okay, put that aside. It's a really good movie. I don't know. It inspired me way back when. And I watch it probably at least once a year. Cause it's like, I don't know, comfort food to me at this point. But we're going to do a commentary on the full thing. We've seen like most of it just by skipping through. I'm sorry for that, but that's definitely one we'll do a commentary on. That's fun. I can break down some cool stuff about that movie. And if you guys want to have a go at that kind of stuff while we do it, like, let's do it. Gandalf says the black cube's a symbol for an oppressive regime. Yeah, absolutely. The cult of Saturn trapping them, says not Jim Bonner. That's cool. Yeah, they were kind of showing their hand at least in a very real way, because they ultimately get trapped in that box again and again throughout this whole thing. The whole thing's almost just about manufactured, and I think Black Cat was saying like the movie's self-referential, them being sort of what's it called, like corporate made. There's better words, manufactured, and just trying to escape being manufactured again and again, trying to escape their own sort of existence as manufactured images. I don't even like know what to say about the implications of that, but it's certainly thought-provoking. We'll do our best when we watch it, but it's definitely a good example of how to make people think. But it does a great job being humorous and ever-changing while you're doing it. It's not like making you watch paint dry or anything like that. I know K-pop idol group version of this movie. Come on. Actually, I think One Direction, like years ago, were thinking back in 2013 of remaking the movie. One Direction wants to give you head. But that's totally 100% what like the idea behind the name was. Like Jack Nicholson wrote the movie with them. They all like sat around and did acid, apparently, is the story. And they just thought it was so funny that they could make another movie afterwards, and they'd be able to say from the people who gave you head. The marketing for the movie was really bizarre. It was mostly posters like this. I don't know who this guy is. I think he was like one of the writers or something. But they like didn't give a shit. Like that's way too experimental. No one's gonna watch. Like they had billboards up with just like the bottom half of this head with this dude's head. Like, I don't know what they were thinking, but that director, you know, I think he's pretty subversive. Bob Rafelson. He like invented the monkeys. They were his like starting point. And this Head movie was his first movie. I think after that he made, like, Jack Nicholson must have been his buddy. They made 5 Easy Pieces and Last Picture Show, those kinds of movies. I think those movies are kind of subversive. I think this movie might be fairly subversive, but to be able to take from something like this is like, I don't know. I take a lot of things from people who probably disagree with me on a lot, and I think that's okay for the sake of art in a sense. My next favorite movie. Do you guys still care? Do you want to hear about my other? It's probably tied. I could keep talking about some of my inspirations. I don't think it's a big surprise. Probably just by virtue of me talking about it all the time whenever people ask. But my favorite director. Yep. Subversive and fun can get confused. Yep, that's true. Man, almost everything is. Everything is. So you might as well pick and choose what you can. Take the techniques and make them your own, you know. And this movie is all about technique. It's like the abstract, like at its finest essence of just like being experimental, having fun. They clearly had fun writing, filming, editing this movie, taking that energy. It's just like the energy of like your first project, like, and just taking that energy. I think it's a great movie for anyone who's starting to make movies to watch. And I think you could take a lot from it technically, like those quick shots, you know, and just those transitions. The art of a transition is like association. How are you associating two things? And how are you doing that? Really cool. I'm just reading your comments here. Your favorite movie is 100% occult symbolism. Now You See Me. Now You See Me. Oh, I'm wrong tab. I'm thinking of Come and See, but I know it's different. Oh yeah, I can see that being kind of occult just by the black and white. Remember Kings wants to know if I like Ralph Bakshi. And I do. I know Fritz the Cat. That was one of those movies I watched a lot in my those early what are some trippy movies phase. But I never watched more than Fritz the Cat, but that movie is hilarious and like funny. That's a very quotable movie in that 1960s sense, like in a lot of obvious ways. But yeah, I don't think I've watched I watched Lord of the Rings. I'm sure Bonner's going, you haven't watched Wizards or Fire? I don't know. I live under a rock, guys, but you know, any sincere recommendations, I'm totally gonna check out. Because I probably should broaden my horizons, but I'm on the train of telling you my influences, so I'm gonna tell you about one of the other movies I've probably watched way too many times. That's my buddy Jan Schwenkmeyer, Faust. Oh, geez. On a high here, guys. I can't even type. I can't type a single thing. And this movie is by this guy right here. And yeah, like we've been talking about, people can be subversive, but you can still take from them. It's this guy right here. Nice old man. He's been making movies since the 60s. He's Czechoslovakian. So my favorite movie by him is Faust, feature-length movie. As far as making any short films goes, why I do short films, probably budgetary, probably resource, probably attention span, but it's mostly because of his short films. So we can talk about those to start. And this is one of those directors that almost every director you like probably likes. Like the guy who did The Fall, probably. I don't know, but I do know that Tim Burton has claimed him as a major influence. I know that what's his name? David Lynch has mentioned him. I know the Quay brothers have him as a major influence. I know that why am I drawing back? Tim Burton loves Schwankmeyer. There's a common thread between all of them because he's one of those people that has the essence of film, of frenetic energy in film. It's in his editing. So, I mean, I love all of these short films, and he has like 26 of them. They're just a lesson in editing. This one about Bach with his music uses just like textures, his tactile sort of stuff, major stop motion. Way of just like, I don't know, decay. But yeah, Schwankmeyer did do an Alice in Wonderland. That was the first movie of his I saw. But when I got into his short films, I thought I could make short films. It's like all these people who say they're influenced by like the Sex Pistols and the Clash way back in the day. Like this is just like the essence of raw film energy to me. I don't know. It's like in essence. This is that film. That's not my absolute favorite, but that jumped out at me. This one does a lot of that. He does a lot of that Arcamboldo stuff, where he's making objects sort of into people. Sort of, I don't know. He has a depersonalizing effect when he does that. Schwankmeyer, major influences like Freud. He's mentioned Marx, the early surrealists. So, you know, as subversive as it gets, subversive, I should say. But I love the heck out of this. And he uses these old, like, super Lindy science drawings, like the Haeckel kind of stuff. And it's like a music video, like we were talking about with the Monkees movie. One thing I learned from him is the value of close-ups, the value of quick cuts. You don't have to do like crazy transitions. You just do stuff like that. And what else was I gonna say? I don't know what I was gonna say. It's kind of hard to watch this and talk at the same time. You guys let me know if this is interesting. I mean, I could watch this stuff all day. All right, see you, Gandalf. Thanks for stopping by. It was nice to have you, for real. But he's an interesting character. He was like banned for making films in like what is it, communist Czechoslovakia for like so long. He made all kinds of art. Film was just one of his mediums. He doesn't consider himself a filmmaker, but he stopped for like a decade, and then he just went back right into it. And the movie that like got him banned was like the least offensive one at all. It was about like Leonardo da Vinci. But I don't know. He just has the essence of conveying this like the frenetic energy of thought itself to his audience with whatever the heck he does. Let's see. I love the stuff. Oh man, I mean, I love Punch and Judy. Where is it? I just lost it. But all right, since I can't find it, we'll watch Jabberwocky. This one's this one's probably like, this was my favorite for a long time, and for obvious reasons it's like my least favorite now. But yeah, I steal the editing totally. It's just I use his means to different ends. And it's all with the music.
Jabberwocky. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogoves, and the mome raths outgrabe. Beware the Jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the Jub-Jub bird, and shun the frumious Bandersnatch. He took his vorpal sword in hand, long time the manxome foe he sought. So rested he by the Tum-Tum tree, and stood a while in thought. And as in uffish thought he stood, the Jabberwock with eyes of flame came whiffling through the tulgey wood, and burbled as it came. 1, 2, 1, 2, and through the vorpal blade went snicker-snack. He left it dead, and with its head he went galumphing back. And hast thou slain the Jabberwock? Come to my arms, my beamish boy. Oh,
I don't know what weird stuff Spanky's doing here, but I do know, and I appreciate
'twas brillig, and
Jim
the slithy
saying that my
toves
editing's like
did
this.
gyre
I personally
and
think,
gimble in the wabe.
you know, I
All
just tried to, I don't know, I didn't try to, but you can see Burton and Gilliam being influenced by Schwankmeyer in like a major way. I just get something different out of it. I love the symmetry of these shots. I love the use of objects, the tactile objects. I love, you know, just having fun with editing and syncing with music, doing frenetic editing, sometimes doing longer shots. But I don't make Schwankmeyerian movies at the same time. I don't think I have that drive.
Mimsy were the borogoves, and the mome raths outgrabe.
Yeah, we'll stop right there. It goes on for quite some time, different sequences. But yeah, it is Remember Kings does have an interesting point. It kind of does feel like horror. Because it is kind of like, I don't know, degenerative. This whole thing is about sort of subverting the patriarch in the top right corner there. And as the sequences progress, that becomes more obvious. And ultimately, like, that's okay. It's I don't even get that out of it. Like, that's not what I take from this. I would say that I try to kind of do like anti-Schwankmarian stuff. I like subvert his work, and that's like what's the funnest thing to me. But I just love his movies. It's like, again, like sort of soul food to me, because it's like at the same time, whether it's degenerative or not, it is like mental stimulation, the essence of mental stimulation. I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but it's like the first place I ever saw that as a thing. I was looking for Punch and Judy. And then we're going to look at what we were talking about, which is Faust. I'm losing people. It's probably because there's the scary monkeys on the screen. But yeah, this movie turns into sort of I love these textures. And the bell. It's very sharp editing, and this is from the 60s, In a way, it's very timeless. He's just kind of off his rocker, and I love him. So I haven't seen the Cartoon Salon films. We'll look at Faust, but let's look at a Cartoon Salon. Cartoon Saloon? Is that the is that this? Or is that the weird what's his name? The Family Guy dude stuff. Because this is beautiful. I have these like old folk tales or something. Cartoon Saloon. Anyway, we're gonna look at Faust. So let's look at Faust. I don't know if we're gonna. I was looking for an English. I won't be able to do commentary on it because it's not in English in full online anywhere that I could find. But you guys like Faust? Now I've done it. Oh, The Secret of Kells? I've heard of that, and I've like seen the trailer, and I like know I want to watch that, so I'll have to watch that. If you guys can find Faust in English, like even just buy a DVD, like just trust me on it. It's a really good movie. It reminds me a lot of that Monkeys movie in a sense, because the main character Faust, what Schwankmajer does with the movie is really interesting. He makes Faust, the character of Johannes Faust, or whatever, I think that's his name, right? He makes him into like an everyman character, this guy. Which is like so clever, but like so true and obvious, right? It isn't every man's story in a sense. And it's a very surreal movie. Weird stuff kind of, happens. And then he enters the Faust story, this normal guy. These sort of like, almost like satanic figures here putting the chicken away, almost sort of rope him into it with all this surreal stuff. And he gets like dragged into the Faust story. And what Schwankmajer does is he really plays with the, I guess you could say like the bigger thoughts of the audience, which are, this character is clearly in a play. He's sometimes reading off a script. He's putting on costumes, and he's reading like he's like doing all this stuff fully knowing he's like a character in this thing. And it's like almost like the Monkeys movie where he tries to escape it at the same time and he can't. It's very cynical in a sense, but it also makes me think a lot about it makes you think a lot about stuff like predetermination versus free will in a sense, just the imagery of it. And even whether or not you have any of those stances, the fact that these sorts of thoughts can be provoked is pretty I don't know, interesting. So we'll skip ahead. He like follows the map or whatever that he finds, and he sort of enters this old building. He finds the costume, he puts it on, he starts reading off the script. But it really like messes with you in the sense that like he becomes the Faust character, and yeah, he does the weird alchemy thing, bringing the little Promethean baby to life, which does that, ultimately reminding him that he's mortal. Yeah, it's like the Schenectady, New York movie there. Exactly. It's like that kind of play, but in a very weird, abstract 60s style movie version of that with puppets. Because every other character in the Faust story is played by puppets. And he knows it's weird. And eventually he puts on like a puppet suit and joins that and tries to free himself from that.
Fauste, zanech ty černé magie a navrať se do školy teologie. Šťastný
but
budeš
see the hands guiding the strings? It's thought-provoking, right?
Plniti budeš Boží přikázání. Obdržíš nebeskou fortunu.
And they'll also sort of rattle the heavens with shaking a like an aluminum thing. I don't know. It's definitely an art of weird stuff. I don't know what to tell you guys. Maybe I'm just tapped. I'm giving Bonner some movie recommendations for sure. I'm glad. It's a real trip. Oh man, how about the scene where he actually goes and I'm spoiling everything in all these movies, by the way. Shouldn't jump around haphazardly, but before the scene, he literally what's on
Mám
the
sloužit, dokud budeš živ. Když mu mez to záruk
Mephistopheles is
podepíšu všechno, co budeš chtít.
he decides he wants to do it, so I'm sorry for skipping like that. Trying to becomes the puppet for the final time, basically. The devil shows up to exchange his soul for. And it's just the way it's guided. It's like, oh man, is this every man's destiny to sell his soul and then repent? It's not. I mean, it feels true in a way. I mean, some people avoid doing that altogether, but it's the fact that it establishes those thoughts in the audience's mind in so many ways is pretty interesting. You don't want to do that. This is my high recommendation. Don't do this. What you're watching over there, don't do it. The angel says, no thanks.
Divná věc.
Mephisto, my pen is falling on the ground.
Jo, Paternoski,
Let's do it again. It's not what they're saying, but the dub of this is actually really good. The DVD is an English dub, and it actually, I never even noticed till like the 5th time I watched because they do a really good job with it.
Mephisto, divná věc. Mé prko mě podruhé z mé pravice zmizelo.
Yeah, the editing makes it seem matter of fact and unalterable. I don't know, there's something about that matter of fact presentation and editing and style of shooting, just like everything's like centered and stuff like that. It makes things feel like ritualistic and matter of fact and unalterable there. I don't know if there's any other way to put it. That's horrifying and terrible, and that's really bad. But yeah, I like that. You put it that way, and that sort of puppet style acting I really appreciate too. If you can make your characters, whether they're in a puppet suit or not, act a little robotic, a little uncanny, like in that Pigeons movie that Gandalf was. I think it was Gandalf showed a scene for. Was it you? It has an uncanny effect that makes things feel like surreal in like a supernatural way, a very like awe-inducing way. But yeah, no music for this sequence. The deed is done.
Celou zemi.
And now he's telling Mephisto that he wants to see the world and he wants to experience all the great pleasures and all that stuff. When earlier in the film, he was trying to use them to uncover the mysteries of life. Really cool scene with that. I can show you with the dub. This is when he like about halfway through after, you know, he has a little fun with Mephisto. He's like, this is stupid. You're not telling me anything. I don't feel like I'm getting those grand alchemical answers, which is cool and pretty based in a way. Unless you're like a weird, you know, Jungian Antichrist kind of dude. But as a Christian, like as subversive as Schrankmeyer is, I think he like, whether he wanted to or not, he accidentally made like a really cool movie. Almost Christian, even though the predetermination thing is debatable. But I love the dialogue in the movie. The selection.
Do I intrude upon your rest? Or would you care to talk?
What I've learned through your instruction reasserts again that big and small are only the two sides to the one coin. And that the elephant, for all his mighty strength's no different, basically, to the tiny flea. So still I seek the force, the reason governing life's flow, and not just its external show.
And he's got the beer
the governing
in his
force,
hand.
The reason some things can't be known. They are beyond your reach even when shown.
Why should that be so?
So matter of fact.
They lie outside the boundaries
Casual.
that words can address. And man can only grasp those thoughts which language can express.
What? Do you mean that words are greater yet than man?
Indeed they are.
Then what of longing, or affection, pain and grief? I can't describe these, yet I know they're in my breast. What are they?
Without substance, as mist is.
In that case, man is only air as well. What has made me thirst then? To be instructed in those things that are more than speech allows.
Your thirst is artificial, fostered by the arrogance in you. So look no further than all your human brothers do. Sleep, eat, drink, and let that be sufficient.
Liar and foul traitor! Where are the pulse and core of nature you promised to reveal? Where
Faustus, you lack the wit to see them in every blade of grass.
Yeah, I think that scene is a lot like this one.
Fiend, Faustus, worm, dare you rain curses down on me? Now spite and venom deeper than the sea I'll vent on you.
I'm learning. The devil knows no more than we poor fools.
The man who gives his soul to Satan for instruction. I would agree with you, he is a poor fool.
As a guide to higher truths, I really cannot recommend you. And yet, says my contract, signed in blood, you still remain constrained to serve me. Serve me then. I will make use of your deceptive guile and your satanic anger.
Both will I put at your disposal.
Yeah, pretty good scene, pretty good dialogue. I mean, most of that is from, I think, the Marlowe version of Faust, and I think Schwankmeyer took from all of the versions. But so matter of fact, he's reading up the script. He's drinking a beer. He's wiping his mouth with the sleeve. Very casual, very grounded and relatable. He's an everyman character. He's getting called on stage for some reason. It's like weird. It makes you like, it's so like confusing that you just stop thinking about it and you just kind of open yourself up to like, this is a very weird experience. Like the Synecdoche, New York movie that you were talking about. It's like, it's thought provoking in a weird way by doing all that. But one thing I think I really appreciate is, you know, the everyman aspect to it, because every man has a soul. Every man has a, you know, has demons and salvation and time, all these, you know, relatable and timeless things. And to experiment with that with just a normal dude who's maybe wearing two boots that are too big for him or whatever is kind of a fun thing to do. So that's my probably second biggest movie influence. You kind of caught it with the editing. I am gonna pee, so let's put on some sort of, this was nice. I'm gonna put on this while I pee. Hey guys, I'm back. Had to do a couple things. I wasn't pooping, if that's what you're asking. I took my dog out though. That's good. Okay, so let's see. Have I heard of a really obscure black and white movie called Citizen Kane? Yes, I have. What if I told you I've never seen it? It's pretty shocking, right? I've never seen that. There's lots of things I haven't seen. I'm terrible. I'm really terrible. What movies that I haven't seen would shock you? Let's find out. I haven't seen. No, I'm not going to get down that rabbit hole. That's a fun one though. And I didn't see the Black Mirror ending thing. I didn't see that. My coworker recommended that, and I didn't see it because I don't trust her. So yeah, I kind of live under a rock, but I will tell you that I'm not closed-minded if you have a sincere recommendation. I'll probably have to watch Citizen Kane. But when I tell people a lot of the things I haven't seen, they usually get real riled up and say I have to. And when people tell me I have to do something, I get a little rebellious in a sense. Don't tell me what to do. But no, if you do it, Bonner, it's cool. I'll watch that. Oh, I lost so many people. I'm losing people. Oh, that's too bad. That's okay. It can just be us. That's fine. Let's have fun. So let's see what else we can get into. So I have a bunch of other topics that people asked about. So I will watch it. I will watch it. But so what I have recommended to speak about is things people haven't heard of. Things people think I'm weird for liking. I think I've covered a bit of that. Music, books, shows, food. And koalas. So what do you guys want to hear about? Music, books, shows, food, or koalas? I'll let the audience decide. We're gonna go down the rabbit hole. We're gonna see what's going on with those things. Music, koalas, books, food. I don't have a lot to say about food. That's probably not cool to most people, but I'm not like super culinary. Okay, cool. Music. So I've got music playing right now. This was recommended by a friend. It's like a slowed down version of an already pretty nice song. I listen to this one time to time. I like I have a pretty simple palette for music. I like anything that's inspiring one way or the other, I think. Whether that's like a happy-go-lucky sort of gospel hymn or, an old traditional hymn or classical music, ambient stuff. Sometimes I'll listen to like jazz, like smooth jazz, or like trip hop kind of instrumental music. I can get into that. There's this dude, I don't know if he makes music anymore. He had an album out like a couple years ago. I didn't love it as much as the older stuff. But it was like such a funny, stupid little thing. This was like right when the internet was becoming weird, like 2008. Clutchy Hopkins, this mysterious old man who lived in the Mojave Desert, who was allegedly making all this music. Not a lot of people, or nobody knew who Clutchy Hopkins really was. This guy right here. Who is Clutchy Hopkins? People were wondering, is that DJ Shadow is that. Sean Lee is all these different sort of instrumental hip hop people. Who's Clutchy Hopkins? And they had like the silly campaign, like, who's Clutchy Hopkins? It's like people wondering who this is. Kind of like, I think it was going off that sort of Banksy energy, right? Oh, I made it so you're not going to be able to hear it. Yeah, he's kind of like a Vermin Supreme kind of thing. Hold on. I got to do that again. Like, who is he? It was like a weird Vermin Supreme Banksy kind of mix.
Fixes stuff.
Moondog, it reminds me of too.
This
is weird old man.
Fixes the gate, and I notice in his back pickup a pile of electronics and gadgets, keyboards, and musical instruments. So I asked him, "Where did you find that stuff?"
Okay, so here's the deal. I go by a flea mart, I'm looking for hubcaps, and then the lady says, "Can you get that clutter out of the way?" I go, "What is it?" She goes, "I don't care what it is. I kind of forget. I know there's at least $100 worth of stuff in there. So for $100, take the tarp off and please give me my little corner bag." All right, cool. I'll take it. Cool. She gives it to me. So anyway, for $100, I got a whole bunch of stuff. So where am I going with this now?
Did he get it from Clutchy Hopkins?
This here is like a little Peter Frampton push-button flute thing here. It's like a wah-wah-wah. All right, here's the deal. This thing's got like a little filter thing here, so it slides up and down, right? So he's got the little pig nose, and he's got all the wires, and he pushed them all over to here, okay? So everything's a pickup right here. It's all a big pickup, like guitar people say, or whatever that is. Frets or whatever. Anyway, so he put this thing here. Now you plug it in, and the flute goes. Hang on.
This is the mystery of Clutchy Hopkins.
Okay, this is how it works. Let me set the volume. Okay, here we go. It sounds like a flute with wires to it. I don't know, man, but it works. That's all there is to it. This little sucker works. The keyboard is pretty cool too. Watch this.
I don't know what this video is. I remember these videos. There's a bunch of them being a little more sort of
running a little bit.
I don't know, focused than that, but that's okay. Now, Clutchy Hopkins music. Yeah, it's a cool instrument. I don't know if they were trying to play off the sort of whoever made the music was trying to play off sort of that allure of like Moondog or the Monks or who else? What's that other band? Like just when people find these like obscure old albums by people. I'm trying to think of another one. There was like that punk band, that like all black punk band from like the early 70s, I think. Just these things that seem ahead of their time, and people are acting like these were sort of found tapes by this crazy genius instrumentalist. But I actually liked the music a lot back in the day. It helped me a lot, and back in the day, like very methodical, measured, and grounded because there are not electronic instruments.
Oh yeah, we go to jam a little bit. Something like that.
I don't know. It's like I listen to it now and I'm like, this is like really simple. Any like musicians are are gonna think this is like music for babies. But when you don't make music, I don't know. I think you like things that are like simple. It's like you're going through your like ancient Greek phase instead of your like Latin and developed phase. Just sort of like, I found it to be such good thinking music. And I don't know, there's something about like the sonic quality of so many of these instruments that are like, I don't know, stimulating. I must have autism because I keep talking about how things are stimulating, right? Stimming and all that, but who knows? But I do know that I really like the sounds. Yeah. I don't know, it's cool, man. And he had like, when I first found him, he had like 5 albums out already or something like that. And I was like, it's like a treasure trove. And then he came out with like 3 or 4 more. And I was like, yes, I like a modern musician. That's cool. Then he like stopped. And then like a couple years ago, he put out one more, which is a lot different than this, but it was kind of cool. Back when it happened, I was like, he's back. Oh, we'll have to listen to that, Bonner. But that whatever the heck you just said sounds a lot like some of the first like music I got into on my own. Because in high school, I was really into like, you know, my friends. Well, like in middle school, I got into all like weird stuff. My brother liked Blink-182 and lots of like hardcore and punk. He kind of got deeper into and hard emo. I never really did that. Luckily, I thought my older brother's tastes weren't for me, right? So I didn't get into that. A couple things from that I picked up on. I got into weird, goofy stuff like They Might Be Giants and Sparks, like things that are intentionally kind of silly. Made friends who were into like The Clash, Iggy Pop. They also liked a lot of rap and stuff, like MF Doom and Aesop Rock and all that. And when I first got into my own music, all on my own, like away from that, besides like T-Rex or Joy Division, it was like, I'm probably gonna say it wrong, but Popol Vuh or whatever, the band that does the music for the Werner Herzog movies, because those movies kind of rocked my world at that point in my life, and I got really into that stuff, which took me into ambient, which took me into instrumental in general. I think once I got away from like music with vocals, I got a lot more productive, because music with lyrics, I don't know, I'm very sensitive or something, it just get me down or whatever. So unless things are super peppy, like gospel bluegrass music, or like, you know, Tannhauser's Pilgrim's Chorus or whatever, I don't typically listen to things with words. But stuff like this is good for like, I don't know, working out or studying or writing or reading. I do like MF Doom, from what I've heard. I just never got too into it. I did have a big Aesop Rock phase. I know that's a similar alleyway. But I don't know, I'm just like instrumental stuff. And this album in particular, and I think all of Clutchy Hawkins' songs are like, you're just gonna get this out of it. You know, pretty cool. This one's pretty relaxing. Kind of like a weird, if you can hear me. I don't know, just this blend between like the jazz, hip hop, I don't know, soul, blues kind of stuff. In like a way that doesn't feel like, I don't know, made up. It's really cool how these musicians, I'm assuming, were able to sort of find the essence of what they liked from these genres and bring them together in a pretty cool way. One band I got really into was these guys around that time, because they're super instrumental. They kind of do that krautrock. What's a good song? Just do this. The krautrock sort of like motoric beat kind of thing. I just thought this was the best music ever for like running, driving. Because you just kind of get in that zone where you just feel like you're going down the freaking Autobahn, you know? One friend I had, he was in a band. He went, "Why is everything you like so weird? Why is it?" No, he said, "Why does everything you like have to be so weird?" That's just one of those things people say to you that you're like, "Damn, I I need to think about that." I don't know. All this stuff's kind of obscure, but it's not bad, and it's not what I think is good about them. I think it's obscure because it's different. One quote I really liked from this band, or I think the singer, from some interview, was, the key to standing out, since everybody rips everybody off, is to rip off people that nobody's ever heard about. And he doesn't just do that. Artists don't like when you use the word ripping off, but in the same other side of the mouth, they'll say your influences are like where you're going to get ideas from. Every artist steals, in a sense, right? You remix stuff. The old Austin Kleon, whatever, steal like an artist thing. These guys are like into Run DMC and what's it called? That Kraftwerk and Can and this weird French band where the singer's like always whispering. As you can see, he does that too. But he kind of mixes that all together. And it's just like its own thing. It doesn't feel fake, but it's so unique. And yeah, it's just like the Red White Stripes video. I think they took influence from that too. I do know that they didn't actually use dominoes or whatever. Not dominoes. Dice to make the movie or video. It's all computer effects to look like that. But either way, I love anything that comes off grounded and real and made out of actual things, and it's a cool video. And then the other band, this is like one of those bands I got into on my own. These guys, you probably know them, because they're fun, because they're all kind of old-timey.
Now streaming on Disney Plus.
Let me show you the legend.
You kidding me?
Artemis Fowl.
An army of angels could rise from the ground and tear every nation apart, and I'd still be sitting there counting my cards, wondering when.
Kind of Beatlesy, kind of the band, kind of very 60s. But I saw these guys live a few times. It was pretty cool. But take that. I really think I grew up listening to a lot of bluegrass, going to like bluegrass festivals with my family. Don't know why, but that sort of I just straight up listen to bluegrass mostly now. But as far as like, oh god, someone asked what bands I like, I'll usually just break this out, because I do like these guys. There's only like 1 or 2 albums that I'm not like 100% about, but different sounds. Let's see. I don't know. I don't know why bars don't play this. But it's I don't know, it's nice indie pseudo Americana whatever, you know? And they talk about, like, this song's about what happens when you die. There's like a atheist character and a person who thinks there's more to life or afterlife. Kind of thoughtful. Yeah, so I'd recommend this. This is probably a good album to start with. But their first, like, 3 are all kind of like this. Would recommend them. I don't know if this is about to end. Gandalf said this will only let you stream for 3 hours, so in 30 seconds, this might just end. In which case, I'll just let it end. If that's the case, it's been real, guys. If not, I'll probably just stay a little longer. But this has been fun. I'll do this more. It's tons to talk about. It's kind of cool to vent and talk to you guys. We'll definitely do movie commentaries. Let me just listen to this. This is fun. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, I'm still going. That's cool. I feel like a comet just went by. Let me see. Is it still on YouTube? Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Okay, cool. I guess we're just going to keep listening to this. So, like, very Beatles. Time for, like, a second phase to this song. There's 2 singers. This wimpy guy, I like him too.
Keep on with the living, you'll soon enough be dead. You got the whole world spinning in your head, and you don't want to give it up. Don't give it up, don't give it up, don't give it up, don't give it up. 'Cause no one should be sorry, we're just another day. You can say your goodbye, but you won't ever go away. Won't go away, won't go away, won't go away, won't go away. 'Cause love that never leaves is never ever welcome back. And I'm running out of skin, feeling to hide it. Won't go away, won't go away, won't go away, won't go away. Now and we're back in time, we're chasing the train, looking back to wave goodbye. Heading for the same disaster. Don't give it up, don't give it up, don't give it up, don't give it up.
See you, Bonner. I'm gonna keep going for a little bit if anybody actually cares. But we'll definitely do this again either way. Is anybody sticking around? I'll keep talking. Does anyone else care about music? I could do this all day. This is the new thing. This is a phenomenon. There's 10 people watching at one point. That's like, you can't top that. So keep listening to them. Unless you guys have something better to talk about. So listen to the other singer. Give him a fair trial. You know, I don't like that song. So I'm going to just actually leave this album and see what else we got. Oh, this song here, Nelly. I named my dog after that song. She died, though. Which is sad. But very sweet.
Does she wander deep inside her slumber from dream to dream? And what does she dream?
Anyway, if any of you guys are single, just start listening to this band. Girls love this band. That's how I met my wife. Just kidding. It's not tactical, but I remember this album in particular came out like the week we got together. So it was like kind of our thing. We did a lot of bonding, listening and kind of analyzing this album together. Kind of a good time. There's oh, no timestamps. What is this? This is tragedy. But definitely a good album. They're all pretty good. Let's just find like this one's kind of got that Faust story.
We're making waves.
We're just talking about Faust, so it's like a song version of the Faust story. But like, he resists the temptation.
Crossroads where we stood. Said, are you looking for directions? I said, gee, I wish you would. Which way to the infinite road that unwinds from within? Follow the distance. Oh, you know I will. Follow the distance. Yeah, just a little bit over the hill. Follow the distance. Yeah. And although you're never near it, you could travel on forever, but you'll never be back here. I said, alright. Yeah. Distant light. The stranger appeared to me up down from his tree.
Yeah. I don't know if I have the attention span to listen to a full song or anything like that when everyone's staring at my face. But, yeah. Unless anybody has anything else they want to talk about, I think we might be able to go our separate ways. But I just wanted to stream and talk to people and, be a little entertainment for you guys today. It's kind of fun. I really enjoy this. Almost too much. Oh, that's cozy. We can just do this next time, full time. Just this. This is called the the cult music. So welcome to my video, everybody. Today, we're going to ring a little bell for the experience. What is this becoming? So today, everybody, we're going to ring a bell. And every time the bell rings, you can exhale. Don't inhale till I tell you to. Just every time this rings, you exhale. Don't inhale. Don't do it. Don't do that. Don't do it yet. Just exhale. It's hard to ring this just once. I was doing that in my video. I was like, all right, so they ring the bell and it's going to go ding. And I'm over there like filming myself like with the bell. And I'm like, all right, just get it to ring once. Nope. And it just wouldn't ring. I'm like, all right, do it again. Oh, I did it. Okay. Made it. That was okay. That was against my point. The point being, it was just like ring once. Okay, I can do it perfectly now. That's great. It's fantastic. I'm so glad. Anyway, is anybody there? All right. Well, I should take off then. It's been nice, everybody. I genuinely enjoyed doing this and talking to you guys. It's nice to hang out, especially, you know, since none of my friends will hang out these days. My in real life friends. So it's nice to have you guys for sure. You're a cool bunch of people. So I'll catch you later. You guys be well.